Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams and we're back with another one of our 24/7 news report videos. We start with our headline news, and our headline news has come from the Rafa Benitez press conference, which happened as of recording about an hour ago, roughly. There was plenty said in there, plenty to be discussed. Rafa Benitez said, well, I say plenty to be discussed. It was plenty of stuff about one man and one man only, and that was Digne. And Benitez went into a whole load of stuff about him, but the main headline from today is that he confirmed that Digne has asked that he wants to leave Everton Football Club. Benitez did have some quotes as well, which I've got here for you that I'll read out. When asked, he put, "I have no explanation for why he wants to leave. If someone is happy or not happy, you're paid big money and have to perform. Modern football, maybe the stats and priorities have changed. Maybe people think of themselves before the team." He then makes it pretty clear that Digne wants to leave the club. He put, "I think it's very clear. I want to ask a question to any fan or former player. What would Peter Reid say if a player doesn't want to be here? He told us his thoughts. What do you expect me to do as a manager?" And then he went on to say, "We already knew. We knew already. We were trying to manage the situation. We have an interest, but nothing concrete. What I cannot do is bring players in who don't want to be here, who cannot want to be here, and then give priority to those who aren't interested." He said, "It's very simple. The 31st of January. If he's still here, we have to deal with it." And there's a lot to break down there. A couple of people thought maybe he was taking a dig at Peter Reid by dropping his name. I don't think he is. It's weird that he mentioned Peter Reid, but I have a theory to it. He's done it purely to pander to us as fans and the really staunch ones among us, because there are staunch Everton fans among us that and he's trying to appeal to that, and maybe even to an older generation slightly, with dropping Peter Reid in, but he's trying to go about it like, what would the biggest Evertonian that he could name do if someone didn't want to be at the club? He's trying to do that. It's like a war cry, like a rallying war cry of, "Come on lads, he's a big Evertonian and he wouldn't have it, so why are you? Get him out the club, come on, Everton." And that is essentially what he's doing. The man's a master. Well, he is till somebody calls him out on it, but he's trying to be a master of the press manipulation, trying to make it seem like that. That's where the Peter Reid comment alone comes from before somebody says anything. That's where the Peter Reid comment comes from. He's not criticising Peter Reid. He's just trying to rally you all up by using a big Everton legend. Going, would Peter Reid stick with it? No, because he loves the club. So Digne should love the club type thing. Don't fall for that as easily as it's been put out. But he didn't criticise the legend, which is a big plus, because that would go down very badly with the fan base. Yeah, I mean, and there were a lot of silly things he mentioned. He said he doesn't care about individual stats when the team finished 10th, on about Carlo and last year, which we'll be lucky to finish 10th this year, so it's a very silly thing to say, because if we finish anything less than 10th, he looks like a bit of a mug in my mind. I'd have just kept stum about the last season's finish when, we've got 2 wins in 2 months. But he went on to say about Digne, and that he doesn't know why he doesn't want to stay in all of this. This will split the fan base right down the middle. It already is, and it will continue to. My opinion, and some of you are going to disagree and comment, and that's fair enough, is that we're listening to the same type of stuff we heard with James Rodriguez. Digne isn't on Twitch saying he doesn't know who Everton are playing though. And has recently had signed a 5-year contract and was pretty happy up until this season. But if you look at it, it's the same sort of way that he pushed Rodriguez out. Now, I know some of you were happy to see him go because of his injuries or the fact he was a bit of an idiot on Twitch, and that's fair enough. This is a player, though, to sign a 5-year deal, I think does like being at the club. And he's saying the same sort of stuff. And I get that some of you are happy to let Digne go. My issue with it is, other than the fact that I like the player and we have one left back from the Ukrainian league, is that what happens if the boat doesn't stop here? What happens if next week or Richarlison comes out and says, "I don't like how we're setting up either, actually, boss," or Dominic Calvert-Lewin says, yeah, this is absolutely naff, or a Decore. What happens when someone that, is a big player, bigger than Luka Dean, starts saying, I don't like the way we set up either, and Benitez starts to turn the media and the fans on them as well? It's sort of it just sort of sets a really, really horrible tone at the club that nobody's safe. If Richarlison did it next week, don't think Benitez is going to look at him and go, oh, well, no, you're Richarlison. He would treat him exactly the same and would try and push and push and push till he left. So that's my biggest worry, is that nobody's safe at Everton. So I wouldn't get the Dominic Calvert-Lewins and Richarlisons I wouldn't get attached to, because they're only, I personally feel like they're only one comment away from being shown the door at Everton anyway. Other than that as well, I mean, the rumours are that we're only hearing one side as well before everyone judges. So he's saying we don't know why Digne is not happy. Yeah, Luka Dean's not actually said anything though. So like all you're hearing is Rafa Benitez make it out like Dean doesn't want to be at the club. He did sign a 5-year contract the season before him, so it's a bit sus that all of a sudden he doesn't want to. But I will say this, saying how you're right and Benitez is right and he doesn't want to be at the club. A little bit of me can't blame him. We have 2 wins in like nearly 3 months now. We are slipping and slipping down the table. We're not learning from mistakes. And he is 28, 29, and Chelsea, the champions of Europe, are coming sniffing. I could see why he might look at that and go, well, I'm not getting any younger and this club's not progressing the way that he wants, or us fans as well, by the way. Like, you couldn't even argue if he said that, if he said the club's not progressing. Fans couldn't argue and go, no, well, go away then, because most fans will agree it's not progressing the way we want. So there is that sort of thing as well. I think the biggest shame is that it's going to split the fan base. I can already imagine, that it's going to split, and I've seen it on Twitter, which is a shame, because this season just seems like every bit, like everything just splits the fans. Are you Rafa in, Rafa out? Did you ever want Rafa? Blah-de, 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 blah. And it just keeps splitting everybody apart. It's quite a sad situation to be left in. And by the way, I'm not Rafa's biggest fan, but Benitez's biggest fan. But these problems aren't down to him sorry, this isn't just at him. This goes a lot bigger. The decisions being made at the club from the last 5 years have led to this as well. We do have the news that Roma are considering a move for Jean-Philippe Gbamin. That's from Corriere dello Sport. Obviously, I mentioned that the other day. Benitez has said, I didn't say that, I have no contact with him and his agent. The point is that people can talk, but the reality is that if you want a player to go, then here we have the experience of that. You have to have an offer, the player has to say yes, and the club has to say yes, so we don't have anything like that. So he's basically saying he's not going anywhere yet till the club have an offer. I said it yesterday, he's an unfortunate fella. Injuries have ruined his career at Everton, and indifferent. I can't even say I'll miss him or say good riddance to him from a player's point of view and a quality of player, because we've just not seen enough of him to make that sort of judgment. He could have been, and this is a slight exaggeration, but he could have been like the next Vieira, and we'd never have known because he's not played. So like I'm devastated for him, but I'm not devastated if he leaves, because I've not seen enough of him to say whether he was good or not, which is sad. We also have the news that Villa are interested in Luka Dean. This comes from Mike McGrath from the Daily Telegraph. It's a nice little rhyme there. I imagine Villa, they bought Coutinho on loan. They brought him on loan. They've got a bit of money behind them. I imagine Luka Dean is someone they'll be looking at, whether he goes there. I think he's got his heart set on Chelsea, really, or a team in Europe, so maybe even West Ham. Can't see him going to Villa. I think he wants European football at this point. Otherwise, if he goes to Villa, he's probably taking a slightly upsideways step, in the fact that I think they will finish above us in the league, but then they've got no Europe, so it's a bit like that. Whereas if he goes to Chelsea or West Ham, they've got European football, so we'll have that on him. Everton are considering a move for Manchester United midfielder James Garner. The 20-year-old is currently on loan at Nottingham Forest. That's come from Peter O'Rourke, a freelance sport journalist. So yeah, take that with a pinch of salt, but as always with all of these. But yeah, that could be an interesting one. I don't know much about. Well, I do know much about him, but I don't watch him play very often. It'd have to depend on the price, wouldn't it? Really, with young players from England, from the Premier League, and from a Premier League club, it'd have to depend the price that United stick on him. If they stick something silly on him, just don't entertain it. We also have the news that Tottenham are step up a pursuit for Jordan Pickford. According to Tutor Mercato Web, they claim the London club are preparing for life after Hugo Lloris, as the 35-year-old's contract expires this summer. Antonio Conte says he's hopeful that Lloris will remain, but it's uncertain, so they're looking at Jordan Pickford. I think this was only a matter of time. I think he was my Everton player of the 2021. If you haven't checked that out, we did the live stream. I picked him. It was between him and Decore. He's had a really good year, really solid, not just for club, but he also did for his country. Did his best to try and get England the Euros win. Saved Jorginho's penalty as well, after Jorginho having a good streak of penalties scored. He's a good player. He's a really good player. And I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if one of the top clubs came looking for him. Tottenham will be looking to find somebody to replace Lloris, and the Pickford's a reasonable choice to pick. His kicking's very good, isn't it? Obviously, I don't need to explain his high qualities. We know that, but it depends on the price on whether I sell him. I think we could probably get as good shot stoppers from in Europe. As good of a kicker, I don't know, but there are good goalkeepers knocking about Europe. But he is still a very, very good keeper, and is my 2021 Everton Player of the Year. But that is everything we've got time for today. Don't forget to comment down below, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. I'm sure you have plenty to talk about. The Lukaku situation will divide the fan base, I'm sure, in opinions. I do like to read them all and respect all your opinions, obviously. Even if, just because you don't agree with somebody's opinion, we can still go about it respectfully. And I do read the comments, because if you'd notice, whoever left the comment the other day about my pronunciation of Lukaku, I have not called him Digne all video apart from one slip up, so I do read your comments. But yeah, most importantly, guys, stay safe.